having such a dead space in between with the praise and worship. So it's like all the praise and worship team, we're all ministers of music basically. But what I'm saying is, how do we keep that dead space, eliminate that, and just keep everything flowing
I got you.
simultaneously?
I got you. I'm ready. It's covered too. But y'all know the rest. But but firstly, once again, when we talk about fellowship, I think that, and unfortunately, not enough pastors come to these kinds of conferences because pastor is key to what you're talking about. That can't not happen without his or her participation, concern, because they're going to be the ones on the front line to facilitate that. I say that because, in addition to that, that whole fellowship, when the pastor is shifting gears, if we were in fellowship, if the pastor came by, some of the rehearsals, suggestion for you to take back to the pastor, tell them to call me, read the book, making those kinds of suggestions, having a lot of, I'm learning more and more, I've seen it with my own eyes, that a lot of ministers of music don't have fellowship time with the pastor. I don't mean dictatorship time where the pastor comes and tell you what we doing, what I need you to do. I mean to sit and hear the heart of the pastor for the ministry. Pastor, I just need some time to just feel you out, to hear what's going on. How much of what the Lord has given you to lead us can you share with me so that I can prepare the music ministry for the shift? Because if it's not addressed, approached, then it can be a train wreck. Because I'm thinking we all right. And you didn't shift it, and I'm out of the shift. And simultaneously with that, as I heard you say, as the ministry is growing in numbers to become, if that's what you're talking about, numbers, because you got some mega ministries that ain't got but 40 people. But numbers, I know what we're doing. I know what we're saying. But yes, sir. But you don't say 2 minutes. Just say stop. But no, I'm done. But with that, it is so about fellowship that I think the fellowship will be where the answer is. And so we just got to get the door open for the fellowship, because then the rest will come easy. I promise you. Because the rest will be concerning. How we go, as my sister was saying, as we were talking about earlier, how the flow will happen from hymn to contemporary to traditional, maybe in the fellowship time with the pastor, maybe then you'll be surprised at what the pastor is not thinking about, because he's thinking about so many other things. And then just hearing your heart, the pastor will, maybe on the second Sunday or the fourth Sunday can be when we really make sure, and then you'll see a whole nother crowd that comes, because a lot of people don't realize, what a big fan some people are of simple traditional stuff. They don't want to hear nothing contemporary. Because truth of the matter is, there is business in ministry, there is business in church, and whether they want to acknowledge it or not, a lot of congregation members are customers to the church. And customers will stop when they don't like it, because they can't say they called to the position. That's what you say. Amen. So with that, that whole flow becomes. It still goes back to preparation and education, because you can even prepare the setup of the flow, even as the chord is going. You talk for a second and to let them know. How many of you remember? Amen. We sang it that way. How many of you remember when we used to sing it like this? And then somebody, oh, yeah, we remember. Now, that's just right after we came out of the greatest, biggest contemporary thing. But we want to break it down. How many mothers remember when somebody would just sit at the piano and just do it like this? You know what I mean? And when it's done that way, excitement has, and then what we have done, we have bridged a whole nother gap, whereby we have bridged the traditional with the contemporary. We made them enjoy this, and we make them enjoy this. And it becomes an educational experience simultaneously. Those are just a few nuggets there to help that ministry. Amen. But I behoove ministers of music and choir members. I mean, because when you invite, see, the pastor don't know that you miss him in the rehearsal. The pastor, tell him I said, the pastor needs to come through the rehearsals. Let the pastor come to the rehearsal and pray with the choir and sit in the back and listen to what y'all doing. And watch the pastor enjoy you or not. So that, because you're talking about coming together, so that you can flow together. And one thing I must address, and I have to stop, but another thing, because you're never going to be on the same level. I have to put that out. So it's not about you being on the same level as the pastor, because the pastor is going to be the leader whether he does what you like or not. He is the pastor. Anything with two heads is a monster. That's why Lucifer got kicked out in the first place. He thought he was wonderful and equal. Amen. So, but that fellowship many times gives him opportunity to see where his people are and how he can serve them better. That's what he wants to do. I know that's what he wants to do. Amen. I know that's what the pastor wants to do. He wants to serve the people. Amen. We hope that we have helped you and been of some help. Amen. We give God praise. Come on, let's give the Lord some praise. I'm sorry, what are you saying? Pastor Jerome Bell.
The world around you is spinning. It's important to be educated on today's issues. Be informed and grow to your full potential. Be empowered to go farther than you've ever dreamed. And be inspired to soar above the limits in your life. Gospel Today magazine will illuminate you to achieve all God intended for you. Isn't it time you focused on the big picture? Visit our website or call 1-800-906-5610 and subscribe today.